I've got Aaron Cohen joining us now, a national security analyst. Aaron, from what you heard, and how authorities said that they quickly wanted to take this guy down because if they didn't, he would have kept shooting. It looks like within an hour after they got there, it was done, but he had already done a great deal of damage.
Yeah, the response protocol, Neil, for what they call an active shooter, which is what we saw, or what the chief was explaining, is they obviously have a joint or a multi-agency task force that's properly armed and equipped to be able to respond to that type of threat. They show up to the location, and the goal of the active shooter team is to just chalk seconds off the ability of the shooter to fire rounds. So essentially, it's every second you waste, another innocent person can be killed. So I think they did a great job with the response. The red flag for me, and the congresswoman, when she was speaking to the media, said, we don't want to pass judgment. But listen, the truth is you have to pass judgment when it comes to our nation's security, especially at a facility that is designed to protect our nation. And so, the question I have is, where was the failure in the system? And how do we prevent or maintain this multi-layered security system that we've heard repeated over the last 10 years since 9/11? Clearly, a specific person, potentially two, Neil, was able to get in to one of the most historic naval facilities in the country and open fire. So one of these layers failed. And so my question is, how did it fail? I would begin looking at, again, the training of the security at the facility. And again, it's how do we identify the murderer, which we've learned in Israel, and I don't mean to make this Israeli specific, but what we've learned over years is the profile of a murderer is the same before he commits the act of murder as it is afterwards. There are red flag indicators. So it's really time, again, I think, to start getting out of this lackadaisical thing in terms of the amount of time we've had away from 9/11, reinvigorate it, and we do that by constantly challenging our security. It's almost an art form. If you're not challenging the security, then eventually it becomes complacent.
One of the things we do know about Aaron Alexis is that he did work there. We don't know whether it was on a full-time basis, but we do know he was familiar to people there. So do you think in the security process, he was greeted more leniently than others who might not be familiar? So people checking IDs, checking security as they go through various stages of the system.
I think, I know from having provided many security hours of protection to schools here in Los Angeles and around the country, that there is a sort of security rhythm that begins to take shape. And you do often build relationships with people that you're familiar with, and it speeds up the security system, and it's okay to have that. If, in fact, you can verify that everybody who's moving in and out of that security system are people who are supposed to be there. So if, in fact, I don't want to speculate because, this is we're still investigating, or the law enforcement agencies are still investigating, trying to figure out exactly what his motives are. But the fact is if there's somebody who's not supposed to be on the property, that information has to get collated, and it has to be collated immediately. Right. And again, I think that goes back to what we call wet system testing or red teaming, making sure that all of these layers function properly so that in the event of an attack, whether it's terror-related or whether it's an extremist or a disgruntled employee, the fact is, Neil, it's still the same tactic that's being used, which is trying to kill as many people in the shortest period of time in order to achieve whatever your goal was. That testing, I think, is really what's critical here, and I think that's what's going to reinvigorate everything.
Aaron Cohen, thank you very much. Just update.